Heroes are an ideal we strive for. Villains are an ideal we avoid. And anti-heroes, well, they're more like what we really are. Thomas Shelby, Michael Corleone, Homelander, Tyler Durden, Walter White, Patrick Bateman, Tony Soprano, Russ Cole, Tony Montana, Jordan Belfort, Jack Sparrow. What do they all have in common? What makes them anti-heroes? And why have these characters become increasingly popular? Is there no longer space for heroes like Superman or Captain America? Are perfect heroes out of favor, or does this reflect the world's current chaos?
The world needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
From a very young age, we learn to interpret life in a very simple way. We split everything into right and wrong, good and evil, hero and villain. It's like we see the world as a coin with just two sides. I remember as a child, whenever there was a movie on television I didn't know, I first looked at my dad and asked, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? Only after I knew that could I watch in peace. Since for me, it was all about knowing whose side everyone was on. And thinking about it, that's exactly how they draw the world for a child. We're taught to see the world in black and white because that gives us hope. It brings us comfort. Good and evil are psychological shortcuts. Ways to simplify the chaos of life so we can understand it, and most importantly, feel protected. But I'll never forget the day my father was watching Scarface.
What's your name?
Antonio Montana.
I was shocked by Tony Montana's actions, since he was supposed to be the good guy, and immediately asked, but how come? Is he a good guy? This time I remember my father laughed and said, not everything is about good and evil. It's not always that simple. At the time, I was confused, but I was being introduced to the anti-hero. Those who are neither at one extreme nor the other, but who are somewhere in between, living in a gray area. They're characters who show that life, contrary to what I used to believe, doesn't fit inside a coin with just two sides. They live in moral ambiguity.
The only rules that really matter are these: what a man can do and what a man can't do.
Look at Jack Sparrow, for example. His motivation is simple. He's egocentric, driven by personal gain, power, and pleasure. He doesn't care about helping people. He doesn't care how his actions affect others. He doesn't care what the law or the rules say. He does what he wants when he wants.
Me, I'm dishonest, and a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest.
And even though he's different from a traditional hero, with all his contradictions and immoral actions, he wins people over and captivates them.
You're easily the worst pirate I've heard of. But you have heard of me.
Anti-heroes are created in a way that the audience connects with them by showing the character's perspective, why he chooses to do what he does, his motivations and desires. The audience understands the reason behind their actions, and even if they don't agree with them, we can still identify with them.
You can't smoke here.
Yes, I do smoke, man.
We don't even use that kind of language.
This identification has various levels. You can have an anti-hero like Robin Hood, who steals from the rich to help the poor, a morally wrong cause that still gains broad public acceptance. Like in the movie Prisoners, where the protagonist's daughter disappears and he changes, doing everything he can to find her. We understand his motivations, and even though he goes too far and his actions aren't considered the most correct, we see his cause as noble. We can also go to the opposite extreme, as with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. In the movie, he shifts from being just Batman's villain to the protagonist, becoming an anti-hero. We understand his story, his perspective. We see the character constantly being ridiculed and humiliated by society, a joke to all, an adopted son with mental issues, completely abandoned and rebelling against the world. We see the character's development, his motivations, and even though we can understand his side, his actions are still strongly rejected by the audience. And what's interesting about anti-heroes is their ability to make us think about how far we're willing to go for a cause. To what extent can we consider their actions noble, acceptable, or even justifiable? Most importantly, are these limits we see for them and ourselves are really ours, or were they imposed by a collective morality?
There's an absolute morality maybe, and then what? If you think there is, go ahead, be that thing. Bad people go to hell? I don't think so. If you think that, act that way.
while traditional heroes and villains are practically tools to reinforce what society wants us to believe. What is right, what is wrong, how we should behave. Anti-heroes make us question all of that.
Homelander, he's a human. He's just like the rest of us. We all make mistakes, right?
No,
I mean, come on.
no. No, I don't make mistakes. I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better.
They are not perfect figures built to inspire us. Even anti-heroes challenge the very idea of perfection.
I want to stay married, Dad, but it's crazy out there. Those girls, you should see them.
They are full of flaws, vices, immoral desires, hatred, envy, resentment, and that's exactly why they are so captivating, because they're more tangible, more real. They're not here to dictate our actions or lifestyle. Instead, they embrace human flaws, often letting themselves be swept away by them.
I do not hope for a better world for anyone. In fact, I want my pain to be inflicted on others. I want no one to escape.
We all carry our own version of morality, shaped by the scars of our history, by the traumas we have buried, and by the unique way we see the world.
All I have in this world are my balls and my word, and I don't break them for anyone.
Anti-heroes? They expose something we try to ignore, the constant conflict between who we are and what we were taught to be.
A little room out in the country, work at a bar 4 nights a week, and in between I drink. And there's no one there to stop me. I know who I am.
Maybe that's why they comfort us, because they set us free, even if just for a moment, from the illusion that there's only one morality that must be followed. If you've ever felt ashamed for doing, thinking, or wanting something you were taught was wrong, you know what I mean. These feelings of guilt aren't natural. They're constructions, invisible marks left by the conditioning we've learned to call morality. Even as adults, when confronted with the harsh realities of life, helplessness, death, suffering, we rely on the same comfort mechanisms we learned as children. Back then, our parents decided what was right or wrong. Now it's gods, ideologies, or moral systems that take on that role, offering us the same ready-made simplistic answers and keeping us trapped in the old illusion that life can be divided into the right way and the wrong way.
Some folks enjoy community, the common good.
Yeah, the common good makes up fairy tales, which isn't good for anyone.
We enter a regressive process, avoiding reality with autonomy and instead immersing ourselves in life's complexities. We return to a childish mentality, which is basically the same thing I used to do when I asked my dad who was good and who was bad. Thinking for yourself about all this chaos can be disturbing and distressing.
Transference of fear and self-loathing to an authoritarian vessel is catharsis. He absorbs their dread with his narrative. Because of this, he's effective in proportion to the amount of certainty he can project.
Freud had an interesting view on this. He said that religion is an illusion derived from human desires. He viewed this need for religious comfort as a collective delusion that keeps us bound to a simplistic, moralistic view of reality. For him, this morality imposed by religion and society serves as an escape, a refuge, to avoid the discomfort of accepting that perhaps there is no universal order or greater meaning.
Can you imagine if people didn't believe all the things they get up to?
Exact same thing they do now, just out in the open.
And here I'm talking specifically about religion, because in many cases it's the origin of the moral norms we learn from an early age and follow so faithfully without even questioning. Pause and consider, who made the rules you follow? Who decided what's right or wrong?
If the rule you followed brought you here, what was the use of that rule?
And a lot of people might call me profane or a sinner simply for bringing up these questions. But if you really believe in something, the best thing you can do is allow yourself to question it. Because it's through questioning that our beliefs are either strengthened or fall apart.
Certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. Even Christ was not certain at the end. My God, why have you forsaken me? He cried out in his agony at the 9th hour on the cross. Our faith is a living thing, precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there was only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery and therefore no need for faith.
We're so attached to the childish belief that ready-made answers provide security in an uncertain world that we choose to shut ourselves off. But sometimes these certainties blind us. But here's the question. What is morality after all? Is it a noble idea to guide our actions, or just a set of rules created to keep everything under control? Could it be God's will translated to earth? But now, what if there was no greater plan? What if the universe is completely indifferent to the idea of morality? What if good and evil were nothing more than human creations to deal with chaos? Something that, as Nietzsche rightly said, is nothing but cowardice, because following rules created by others is much easier than looking inside and finding your own answers. It's easier to accept what we're told is right or wrong than to face the truth about who we are. Flawed, complex beings with hidden desires shaped by society. Where am I going with this? It's that when we accept these rules as absolute truths, whether out of fear of God or fear of being judged by others, we only create a new illusion, a morality that doesn't come from a genuine desire to act decently, but from the fear of an invisible punishment. The truth is that your kindness must have a certain purity, otherwise it's not really kindness.
If someone is only decent for divine reward, then they're a piece of shit.
True morality, if it exists at all, can only come from a real choice. You do what you do because you believe in it, not because someone told you it's the right thing. And that's exactly where anti-heroes come in. Heroes follow the rules, villains break them, and anti-heroes question why those rules exist in the first place. That's the essence of their appeal. Their actions don't bring easy answers, they bring us tough questions. If we want to find our own answers and live more authentically, as hard as it may be, that's the path we have to walk.
You guys are a bunch of fools. Do you know why? You don't have the courage to be what you want to be. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy, so. What does that make you? Good guys? You're not good. You just know how to hide. Me? I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth. Even when I lie.
Tony Montana doesn't worry about being what society expects. He owns who he is without filters, and that bothers people. Not because people simply disagree with what he does, but because he exposes something they try to hide. It's much easier to point the finger and say he's wrong, that he's the problem, because that shifts the focus away from our own flaws and contradictions. Carl Jung used to say that the shadow is everything we repress because it doesn't fit what we've been taught is right. And anti-heroes make us face that shadow. They throw in our faces what we pretend not to be.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? You clearly don't know who you're talking to. So let me clue you in. I am not in danger. Skylar, I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot and you think that's me? No, I'm the one who knocks.
That we go in and connect with their world. We are led to question, if the circumstances were different, what would you be capable of doing? How far would you go if the rules that control you simply disappeared? Until you become conscious of your shadow, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You think you're in control, but you follow rules you never chose, walking a path that may never have truly been yours. You don't even know you're trapped, he said. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. We live in a world that teaches what to think, not how to think.
It's always been that way. One monkey looked at the sun and told the other monkey, he said, for you to give me your damn share, people. So damn frail, I'd rather put a coin in a wishing well and buy dinner.
You know why? Living without ready-made answers means you must face the truth. And here it is. It's not just the hero, villain, or anti-hero. There are multiple sides. All of them are parts of you, not opposites, but pieces of the same whole. You root for Tony Montana because part of you wants to live without restraints, without caring about the rules. You understand the Joker because you know on some level what it's like to be crushed by a system that doesn't care about you. And you connect with Jack Sparrow because in your life, you also want to tell expectations to hell and do whatever you want.
I feel so sorry for you, Walt. Fuck you.
But the point isn't about imitating these characters. It's about what they reveal, what they do. Seeing yourself in them is the ideal you seek, the rebellion you feel, or the flaws you try to hide. Unless you accept you carry this inside, you'll stay trapped, since freedom isn't about picking sides. Freedom means realizing you don't have to be just one thing or owe anyone anything. Freedom is living without masks, without the burden of pleasing or fitting in. It's allowing yourself to simply accessi echa.